The turning point in Chernobyl wasn't the reactor explosion. It was the moment a leader realized that he might be wrong. And that realization may have saved millions of lives. When we're first introduced to Boris Shcherbina, he's exactly what you'd expect from a high-ranking Soviet official. Confident, commanding, certain. He's been sent by the Soviet government to manage the Chernobyl disaster after the reactor exploded. And from the very beginning, he makes one thing clear. He is in charge. Listen to how he speaks to nuclear physicist Valery Legasov.
You're on this committee to answer direct questions about the function of an RBMK reactor. Nothing else.
Think about what he's communicating. He's saying, I don't need your opinion. I don't need your expertise. I don't need your perspective. Just answer the questions I ask. That's not curiosity. That's control. And it gets worse. A short time later, Shcherbina and Legasov are flying toward Chernobyl in a helicopter, and Shcherbina exerts his dominance.
Tell me how a nuclear reactor works, or I'll have one of these soldiers throw you out of the helicopter.
That's a direct threat. Tell me what I want to hear, or else. And then a few minutes later, he doubles down on that dominance.
Get us over that building, or I'll have you shot!
At this point, Shcherbina is doing what a lot of leaders do under pressure. He's relying on authority, not curiosity. He's using power to get answers instead of trying to understand what is happening. And then everything changes. As the helicopter flies over the reactor, Shcherbina sees something on the roof. Graphite. Now, that may not sound important, but graphite was inside the reactor core. So if graphite is now on the roof, that means the reactor core has exploded. And if the reactor core exploded, everything they've been told up to this point is wrong. Up until this moment, Soviet leadership had been insisting that the reactor was intact. Even though multiple people had reported seeing graphite, nobody wanted to believe it. And now, the highest-ranking official on site has seen it with his own eyes. And for the first time, that wall of certainty starts to crack. And so when Shcherbina lands, he asks a question.
Why did I see graphite on the roof?
And that question changes the entire story. Because for the first time, Shcherbina is no longer acting like a man who has all the answers. He's acting like a man trying to understand reality. But watch what happens. The first answer isn't information, it's deflection.
I mean, why did the deputy chairman see graphite on the roof?
Notice what's happening. The question immediately gets redirected. Responsibility gets shifted. Nobody wants to own it. And then comes the next response.
Oh, that can't be. That's not possible. Perhaps you saw burned concrete.
Denial, excuses, deflections. The conversation is going nowhere. And then Shcherbina does something remarkable. He changes one word.
The Legasov is wrong. How should we prove it?
Instead of asking why, he asks how. And everything changes. The blame stops, the defensiveness disappears, and the conversation immediately shifts into problem-solving mode.
Our high-range dosimeter just arrived. We could cover one of our trucks with lead shielding. Mount the dosimeter on the front.
No arguments, no excuses, no finger pointing, just a solution. And that is one of the most important leadership lessons in the entire series. Some questions create defensiveness. Others invite curiosity. The difference can change an entire conversation. But Shcherbina isn't done. A short time later, General Pikalov returns with an accurate radiation reading from the reactor. And the number is huge. Shcherbina hears it and asks another question.
What does that number mean?
Think about how different this is from the man we met earlier. Earlier, he was threatening the expert. Now, he's learning from him. Earlier, he was acting like he already knew. Now he's openly admitting that he doesn't know. And because he asks that question, he gets a clear answer. The reactor is releasing radiation equivalent to 2 Hiroshima bombs every hour. Then comes the next question.
Vaporize the water.
How do we put it out?
There it is. That's the pattern. First understand, then solve problems. What does that mean? How do we fix it? That is leadership. Not pretending to know, not protecting your ego, not forcing certainty, understanding first, solving second. And from this point forward, we see Shcherbina continuing this transformation throughout the series. He listens more. He asks more questions. He becomes more curious. The authority never goes away, but now it is paired with humility, and that is what makes him effective. So what can leaders learn from this? First, what questions give us information? What happened? What does that mean? What are we missing? A good what question is driven by genuine curiosity. You don't know the answer, and you want to. Second, how questions create solutions. How do we know? How do we fix it? How do we move forward? How questions pull people out of defensiveness and into problem solving. Third, be careful with why questions. Even when your intentions are good, why questions often sound like accusations. People hear blame, and blame tends to create excuses rather than understanding. And finally, remember this. The transformation in Shcherbina wasn't really about questions. The questions were simply evidence of something deeper. He stopped trying to be right and started trying to understand reality. That is the moment he became a better leader. Because leadership isn't about having the answers. It's about being willing to abandon an answer when reality proves it wrong. And the leaders who can do that are often the ones who make the biggest difference when the stakes are highest. Coming up next, we are boldly going where no one has gone before. Who is the better leader? Picard? Kirk? Janeway? We are about to find out. So stick around. And if you want to apply these ideas to your leadership, I've linked a worksheet in the description. Check it out. And if you have a TV or movie character you'd like me to analyze their leadership, just drop that in the comments. Until next time, take care.